welcome to another episode of the SG WrestleCast. This is a very, very special episode. It is basically a year since I started this podcast. Well, not podcast, but show, this WrestleCast show. And I will be reviewing WrestleMania 31. What the matches were, and stuff. I did not watch the pre-show because it's a waste of time. But I will mention the matches that happened on the pre-show and the results of those. One thing I have to say is that, I didn't get to watch WrestleMania when, I didn't get to watch it on Sunday, but I watched it since then on WWE Network, and I have to say that as far as WrestleMania goes, it's okay. I mean, I think really the main thing here is, WrestleMania, to me, this year was kind of a big waste of time. Because the build-ups to everything was pretty terrible. And half of the card was, it's kind of thrown together, and it centered around a main event that the majority of the crowd didn't want to see, which was Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar, and it centered around essentially three old guys, Undertaker, Sting, Triple H, in the triple main event sort of thing going on, and you know what, that's fine. But that being said, I'm gonna go through match by match and tell you what I thought of each match. Now, I did not tape I did tape a WrestleMania preview, but I haven't actually uploaded it since. I haven't actually uploaded it, but I will make sure to upload it before this one. So with that being said, let's get started with WrestleMania 31. I gotta say, Santa Clara was beautiful. It was a beautiful place to hold WrestleMania. I really liked the atmosphere. I liked the big stadium and everything. That was all good. The main thing was the huge stage. I really liked it. Entrances were really cool on the whole. And so let's talk about the pre-show matches first. I didn't watch them in full, but I know the results. The Fatal 4-Way Tag Team match was pretty much a waste of time, and Tyson Kidd and Cesaro retained. So, yeah, it was okay. I'm fine with them holding the championships. However, the tag team scene in WWE is not really good right now. They're the best options though for holding the title. So and then we have the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. Big Show won it. Yeah, I mean, not a great choice to win it, but then again, the winner really doesn't get anything, so it's okay in my book that he won. Now let's get to the pay-per-view. The Intercontinental Championship ladder match was actually the best match of the night, I think. I mean best as in most exciting, because there's a lot of high flying going on, a lot of high spots with hopefully not injuries, but we don't know that. So, it was Daniel Bryan, Dolph Ziggler, Bad News Barrett, Dean Ambrose, R-Truth, and Stardust in sort of a six-man Intercontinental Tag Team, Intercontinental Championship match with ladders. There was a lot of good high spots. I'm trying to think. There was one point where Bad News Barrett was bullhammering everyone. They pretty much used this match to pump up the feud between Daniel Bryan and Dolph Ziggler, which I think is the best possible thing they could do with Daniel Bryan now that they've kind of resigned him to not being anywhere near the main event. Whether this is going to kind of diffuse his popularity, I can't say that right now. Whether he will be this over with the crowd and such, I can't say, nor can I say that it will propel him further. So I don't really know. We'll see with this one. New Intercontinental Champion Daniel Bryan. It was a pretty good match. I'm trying to think. There wasn't really much I remember from it. As far as Luke Harper was amazing, as usual. Yeah. Wait. So it was actually 6 guys. Didn't I say? It was 7, man. Yeah, it was 7 guys. Yeah, so sorry, I forgot Luke Harper. But that being said, that was actually one of the best matches of the night. I think that the Intercontinental Championship is going to go places after this. That's one thing they're doing right. Next match was Randy Orton versus Seth Rollins. I really enjoyed the match because it was pretty much cut and dry. Orton versus Rollins, very technically sound. I both love watching them work in the ring. J&J Security was there just doing their standard thing at ringside. It wasn't anything that really hopped out at me with this match except the finish where Seth Rollins he was going to go for a curb stomp on Orton, but then he used his shoulder to propel him up into the air. And Orton did a 180 and RKO'd Rollins down to the mat. And that was pretty much the best finish of the night, I think. The most exciting. Just it was so super quick. And so Orton won. So, yeah, the right guy won. And like I said, someone had to be the undercard and hold it up with a solid match. And I think they did. And now the placement of this is really freaking weird. But Triple H versus Sting was next, third match into the pay-per-view, only an hour and a half into the pay-per-view. I was very confused because I thought it was going to be one of the main events. But anyways, Sting's entrance was really cool. He used a bunch of Japanese taiko drummers on the stage and everything. It was awesome. He was wooing, and the crowd was really behind him. Triple H, I guess because he inducted Schwarzenegger to the Hall of Fame, did a Terminator entrance, which it was so super weird, but still cool nonetheless. He did his, King of Kings skull hat, but he kind of pimped it up for looking he had the Terminator eye and everything. It's really cool. So the entrances were pretty nice. This match was just a dream to see. The pace was a little bit slower and more methodical, like I kind of expected, because Triple H and Sting are both pretty much like that wrestlers. It was a battle of psychology. The only thing that I didn't like was that towards the middle and the end, they had DX come out, and then the NWO come out, where I popped like a motherfucker for that. Just seeing the NWO together again and beating on DX, that was fun. The only thing that I hate is that they kept pushing this angle, making references to the Monday Night War, and it's I don't know, I'm not really sure if that was the best way to go about this angle. That Sting was this last soldier for WCW and blah blah blah, and the announcers the whole time during the match were it's stepping into a time machine where it's for 15 years ago. It's no. You're not. You should be worried about the future, now. You know what I'm saying? Triple H and Sting aren't just enemies because of what happened 15 years ago. They're enemies because Sting cost Triple H what essentially at the time was his power. And that's why Triple H has a problem with him now. I don't know. I just didn't really get it. And the finish was terrible because, first of all, Sting lost, but he didn't lose clean, essentially. It was a no disqualification match, but Triple H brought out a sledgehammer. Sting brought out the bat. Sting broke the sledgehammer in half with the bat, but then eventually Triple H just used the head of the sledgehammer, and hit Sting in the head, and then got the 3 count. But then afterwards, all the legends are in the ring and whatever. They're staring down. Triple H is acting like he wants some more. Then he goes up to Sting and holds his hand out, and I'm like, you better not do this. But they did. Triple H and Sting shook hands. And then it was really weird because Triple H made an appearance on the show later and basically shat all over Sting. So I was yelling at this TV screen at this point. I was like, this doesn't make any fucking sense. What are they doing? First of all, it'd be different if you pedigreed him in the middle of the ring and he got the 1, 2, 3. But he hit him in the head with a sledgehammer. And that's how he got the win. It's like, come on, man. Sting wouldn't respect Triple H for that. Nor would Triple H have any respect for Sting. If he's supposed to commit to his heel character, have him be a heel. Like, don't have him show any respect for Sting. Which they did later. So that handshake basically means nothing. And I didn't like just the abundance of people in the match. It just got a little too cluttered for me. But I kind of noticed, like, as the show went on, it was like, the first match was really good. Second match was pretty good. This one was just like, okay. You know, the matches kept getting, I'm not going to say worse and worse, but they kind of, they kept kind of getting worse and worse. I mean, because after this, we get a Pointless Divas match, and then Fuckboy Buckethead versus Rusev before we get to the 2 main events, but I'll talk about those. So yeah, Triple H versus Sting. It was pretty good. It was just awesome to see it, I guess. Now we have the Pointless Divas match, AJ and Paige versus the Bella Twins. AJ got the Black Widow on Nikki Bella for the win. That's about it. I don't remember anything else other than looking at Paige's body and looking at the Bellas, and yeah, basically that was it. That was the extent of my level of caring for this match. And it wasn't for the title either, so I don't care. Okay, so now we have the U.S. Championship match. Fuckboy Buckethead, John Cena versus Rusev. I hate John Cena. I don't really have a strong opinion on Rusev. I don't think he's good, but I don't hate him either. So then there was that. So Cena went over because Rusev hit Lana. Just pointless. I didn't care about this one. I really didn't. Kudos to Rusev for really trying to put over Cena. Well, I feel like he did, but now we're gonna have to deal with the U.S. champion getting more airtime than the Intercontinental champion, because that's what they're gonna do. Cena's gonna get more time, more promo time, more ring time than Daniel Bryan will, because they want to shit all over Daniel Bryan, and John Cena's they jack off to John Cena. Hopefully this doesn't kill Rusev's momentum, because, you know, as someone on the internet says, it's like anything but John Cena. You know, but Bray Wyatt faced John Cena last year, and he got buried up until this year, but we'll get to that. So next we have a way too long segment with the Authority coming out and gloating that, you know, Triple H beat Sting and blah blah blah. And Stephanie McMahon, they're healing it up. They're drawing heat from the crowd, doing all things that you do as a heel authority figure. You know, it made perfect sense. And then out comes The Rock. The Rock and Triple H mix words, which gives me a sort of a thought that maybe that's where they go at WrestleMania next year. Triple H versus The Rock one more time. I think that would be awesome. But yeah, they're having a war of words and whatever. And Stephanie tells Rock to get the hell out of her ring. She owns the ring. Goes to slap him. And she slaps him. And she dares him that, hey, you wouldn't hit a woman. And so he walks out of the ring, goes to the first row, and they showed her earlier, but he grabs UFC Women's Champion Ronda Rousey, who is hot as shit. I will say she's blonde and she's sheesh. She's really she's an ass kicker. So she comes into the ring. Basically takes down Stephanie and even takes down Triple H in the process. Rock lays a beat down to Triple H. Your typical Rock legend celebrity moments. That was kind of really cool. Alright, now let's get to the two main events. Oh, Jesus. This next match. Oh, my goodness gracious. Alright. Bray Wyatt versus The Undertaker. I gotta tell you, I was excited to see this match because it's sort of like a dream match, much like Sting versus Triple H was, because Undertaker was the reason why I started watching wrestling again in 2007, and Bray Wyatt is my new current favorite. And, man, what they did... Okay, so Wyatt comes out, his entrance is awesome. You know, the atmosphere, it set a mood, you know, the atmosphere was really cool. Then The Undertaker's music hits and The Undertaker comes out. Well, I'll be damned. He looks really good. You know, I'm not gonna lie, guys. He looked really good. He looked like The Undertaker from 4 years ago. He got his ass in shape. He was like, oh my God. He looked really good. He grew his hair out again. He looked at least 5 years younger when he first started the match. And he worked over Wyatt for a little bit. But I'm telling you, oh my goodness. He took one bump. It was all downhill from there. I don't know if it was the first bump he landed the wrong way, but let me tell you, I have never been in such physical pain watching any kind of wrestling match because I actually really did care about this match. And I wanted Undertaker to have a good match, and guys, it was not good. It was uncomfortable. He could not move. And maybe other people have different impressions of it. But he took that first bump, and every bump he took after that, and I thought of this analogy in my head, but his face looked like he was passing kidney stones. He was like, the whole time, like he was in pain, and it hurt me to see him in pain because the match suffered. It was not good. Wyatt didn't look strong. Undertaker didn't look strong because they only laid like 4 moves on each other. There wasn't any high flying. There wasn't any going out of the ring. Like, it was your standard Undertaker match. But it shouldn't have been, because Bray Wyatt is amazing. And you can tell he really wanted to do this match, and he really wanted to work with Taker and get Taker over in a way to make him look strong after the Lesnar loss. But man, let me tell you, it was a shit show, guys. It was a shit show. Oh my God, I feel so bad. You know, because like, the one thing I will say is that they pushed through it. Wyatt kicked out of the tombstone once. Undertaker kicked out of Sister Abigail once. And then the finish was the tombstone piledriver. And that was basically it. I'm telling you, Undertaker couldn't even stand up after the match. I mean, he was fucked up again. I don't really know what to say. I think out of all the matches, I was anticipating that one to be one of my. It was really the one I was pumped for. And let me tell you, what a letdown! Oh my goodness gracious! But the most like painful part of it was that it actually started out looking pretty good. Like I said, Undertaker, he looked real good, but man, as soon as he took that first bump, nope, his body just noped, and that it's a shame. Because you have a guy out there like Bray Wyatt who wants to give his all for this guy. and doesn't work out. So we'll see where that takes Wyatt after this. There's rumors that they're doing Sting Undertaker at WrestleMania 32. Oh God, help us. It's going to be a cool match just to see, but let me tell you, oh my goodness gracious, if I have to watch one more WrestleMania with this guy, freaking, this guy he was struggling, man. He was struggling. Anyways, so let's move on to the actual main event. What we all came here for, Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar. It was awesome. Lesnar was kicking ass, making Roman Reigns bleed. It was very lopsided, almost like reminiscent of the SummerSlam match that he had with John Cena. It was awesome. He took the gloves off. It was really good. He was working over Reigns really well. And Reigns had a late comeback of he shoved Lesnar into the ring post, and he had to have bladed. Lesnar had to have bladed, because there's no way just hitting the ring post would actually bust him open up that much. Because he was bleeding. He was bleeding real bad from the head, and it looked in the exact place like where you blade. So what I'm thinking is just, like, I see it, I'm like, he had to have bladed. So yeah, Lesnar bleeds. He's fucked up. Roman Reigns hits him with like 3 Superman punches and like 2 spears. Still can't pin the guy, and they're both down. But here comes Mr. Money in the Bank, Seth Rollins, and this is one of the smartest things I think that they did all night. Because Seth Rollins cashes in Money in the Bank, and he puts Lesnar out of the ring, and he pins Reigns after a curb stomp to become the WWE World Heavyweight Champion. This was a great decision, WWE. I applaud you. Because you know what, Rollins, I knew they were going to go with Rollins eventually. But see, I thought that what was going to happen is he was going to cash in after Reigns had won the match. That in turn would turn Rollins' face, because he took the title off a guy that we didn't want to see with the title. But obviously they wanted to keep Rollins a heel, so what they did is he cashed in before the match was over, turning it into a triple threat match. In a triple threat match, you don't have to pin the champion. So he got the champion out of the way, and he pinned Roman Reigns. Therefore, it keeps Brock Lesnar in a position where people want him to get his title back. And 2, it keeps Rollins a heel because he pinned Reigns and not Lesnar. Well, before he took the title off of Lesnar and not Reigns. That was my point. If Reigns had been champion for like 30 seconds, and then here comes Rollins would have turned face, at least with the crowd. So all in all, I think this was a great decision, having Rollins be the champion at the end of the day. They wanted to go with him anyway, and he's talented. He's a really great worker, so good for him. So yeah, guys, that's my WrestleMania 32 review. I'd say overall the show was like a 6.5. It was better than your average pay-per-view, but for a WrestleMania, I don't know, man. It wasn't the most enjoyable WrestleMania in the world. But anyways, guys, I gotta cut it short. I gotta go. So I will see you all in the next episode of the SG WrestleCast. Stay sexy.